No problem.
All right, 3, 2, 1, and welcome once again to the fabulous moment of what is it, bro? What is it?
Light
Light
bearers, as you
Bearers,
know,
yes, Light Bearers
light
podcast.
bearers podcast.
And today we have a very, very special guest, and
Yes.
we're very honored to have him. You know, since Kay and I were both into physical, not only physical culture, but physical fitness and just staying strong, staying fit, and staying lovely with the body so that you can move around. And our body can do more than most people think it can do. We just have to do
Mm-hmm.
the proper training, the proper food, and the proper mindset. And so, you know, I like Mr. K. We follow a lot of the old school training, which includes isometrics, dynamic tension, good old calisthenics, just picking heavy stuff around your house,
Mm-hmm.
and a
Mm-hmm.
secret and very old tool that a lot of people still, I don't think a lot of people are quite aware of it.
No, they're not.
Very old tool which is called the mace, and today we just happen to have what we call a legend in the art of swinging the mace.
It's the one
And
and only.
that's right. And his name is Rik Brown. He's hailing out from California. So how you doing, Rick?
I am doing terrific. I've had an exciting week, and I'm here at 4 a.m. in the morning having a great time.
Oh,
Delighted to be here with you.
it's 4 o'clock in the morning. And exactly where in Cali are you right now?
I'm in a beautiful city called Rancho Santa Margarita,
Ah,
and it is about 90 minutes north of San Diego and about 60 minutes south of Los Angeles.
Rancho Santa
Mhm.
Margarita. Okay.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
That's pretty. Yeah, I used to go out to back when it was before it was called Verizon Amphitheater. It's called Irvine Meadows.
Very close, very close. Yes,
Yes, yes,
actually,
yes.
yes.
Well, I saw Iron Maiden out in Irvine Meadows and Slayer twice. You know, I saw Maiden back in 1992 at Irvine. It's a fantastic place. It's a great. I'm an old rocker, you know, an old metaler. But
Yeah.
anyway, Rick, I want to know about. I've heard. I got introduced to the maze, or not swinging it, but the thing itself, through the old Indian wrestler, the big. You know his name. The you know the big.
Gamma.
That's right, the big Gamma.
Yes,
And there,
yeah.
you know, I looked at this thing. It's like he used to have this huge one, it's like a big old dome on a, and he was known for doing like something ridiculous, like you know, 2,000 squats and 5,000 push-ups daily, and he used to swing that thing along with wrestling a tree in his backyard. And I got introduced to the maze through him, and then I met Kay on the Bullworker page,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and then he told me about you, and I'm really interested into knowing the history, and then the history with you and the maze, and what you're doing with the maze, and just I just want you to take over and just give us a nice solid education on the maze.
Yeah, very easy, very easy. I know what to say. Incidentally, and I was talking to Kay about this, I think last week. Uh, I'm very proud to say that I have and use a bull worker. I have two of them.
Yes, you did say that.
I have the bull worker, and I have the classic, and I have the steel bow, the much smaller one. Um,
Brilliant.
I don't feel that I feel that the bull worker is the undersung legend in fitness training. Not enough people are bringing it to the light.
Mm.
That with
Mhm.
all the benefit that it provides, and I'll be honest, when I was younger, maybe 10 years or so, 15 years ago, I kind of was embarrassed to say that I trained with a bull worker because I ran in circles that, deadlifted heavy and squatted heavy and
Mm.
benched heavy, and something that was made of a spring or something like that that only weighed a few pounds. Um, oh, that couldn't be serious. It's a toy. It's a gimmick. It's a gadget. Well, I'm older now, and I don't care what people think. I know that
Mm.
the bull worker is valuable. I know that it
Yes,
is,
it is.
and I know that the strength that it gives is tremendous. Exercise. I went and bought the the Red Spring,
Mm.
and
Mm.
the Red Spring's very difficult to close. I mean,
Oh,
I can't close it. I can't. I mean, try as I might, I can move the handles a couple of inches in, and that's it. And I like that. It's a very difficult workout, very
Mm.
result producing. Um, People can say what they want about it, but it works, and it works for me, and I don't need to defend it to
I mean,
anybody. Okay, I'm
Bruce Lee used it.
63. Yeah,
Even the great Bruce Lee
that
used
says
it.
enough right there.
yeah.
You know who else used it? Was John Paul Sigmarsson, one of the world's strongest
Yeah,
men.
world's strongest
He
man,
used
yes.
it.
Well,
Arnold
I mean,
Yeah,
Schwarzenegger
and
used
so
one.
if it's strong enough,
it and
right?
it
If
you can
if
put
it's good enough for him,
yeah, you can put on mass with it too. I mean, I think a lot of people have that misconceptions within the bull worker community. They think like they can't build with it, and I built fantastic with it. You just have to know uh how to use it. Like
That's
any
right.
other thing. If once you know how to use your tool, then the door opens to the endless possibilities of creation.
Mm.
and well, I
Well
come
said.
at it from a slightly different angle, just like with the mace. Yeah, I am 60. I'm almost 64, and anything that gets somebody my age off the couch and working out regularly should be applauded. Um,
Yes.
it should,
Mm-hmm.
it shouldn't. I have no need to defend it to anybody else, but you called me on here to ask about the mace. What specifically would you like to know? I've done all the research and I've taken the mace around the world. What do you want to know?
Well, what I
No,
would
let's.
like to know is a bit of the history and then your discovery of it and how it has spread now or starting to spread. Some of the benefits, just a bit of basic overall
Oh, great, great.
share of
Well,
knowledge, and progression.
I've got a lot to say, and not all of it is going to be welcomed by everybody. But just prepare
No, but
yourself.
this
Okay,
is this page is welcoming all of that. Just
Yeah,
let it
yeah.
all out.
okay.
I'll
Well,
excuse my French, but who gives a flying shit? Go ahead.
yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I started. I've been a lifelong trainer. Okay, I've worked out with the bull worker since high school, and calisthenics and traditional weight training since high school, and I graduated high school in 1976. So uh, I tried to be a bodybuilder. Tried very, very hard to be a bodybuilder. Um, Worked out at some of the best gyms in Southern California. Worked out at Bill Pearl's gym in Pasadena, which he is a five-time Mr. Universe. Okay,
Mm.
I put in the work, but I just don't have the frame for it. I'm very tall. I'm very long and lean, and I just don't. I don't have the look of the bodybuilder. I have the work ethic by far, but I don't have the look. Let me see if I can put my uh, try to try to get my light on here, and I'm
That's
in my
common.
car. Yeah, but
That's
let's see what we can do here. Get a car key going here.
And you don't
Yeah,
have
I've never been.
you don't have the accent like no, this is not, this is not.
Well, you know what?
no.
Seriously, in the '70s, you could get instant respect in any gym if you simply could do a good Arnold, and that
Mm.
would garner you instant respect. And you go to a gym and say, "If you need more weight here, he's a big guy. Come on." uh, that, that will be all it would take to get you instant respect in a gym. But uh, so I was a dismal failure as a bodybuilder, but I loved the training. And that led me around the Y2K era. Just after that, the kettlebell was becoming popular in America.
Mm.
And I found out about the kettlebell and I thought, wow, this is something I want to look into. So back that time, early in the kettlebell's history, you could only get certified as a kettlebell instructor if you went to Minnesota. And so I've always been working. I'm a working man. I've always worked, but I
Mm.
had to get another job. I took a job as a doorman. I believe in England you call them doormen. We call them bouncers.
Bouncers,
To get enough money. I got a job as a bouncer for 4 months to get enough money to pay for the certification. Now this is an important point. Back in 2004, I think I paid about $1,500 to $1,700 for a certification.
A lot of money.
And right especially back then.
Back then, exactly.
I never felt. I used my certification. I never felt that I overpaid or that I was overcharged. I felt like I was doing something for myself that was setting me apart from the crowd. I felt that a kettlebell instructor was apart from the average physical training instructor. So I often look back at the group picture of that 2005 kettlebell instructors course, and I wonder what those other trainers in the group are doing. I know what I'm doing, and I wonder if some of them have gone on to become legends in kettlebells. I wonder if the majority of them are still even training. I know I am, and I know I made a life out of it for me. So I was a kettlebell instructor. Okay, my first or second client, I would meet with him and we would train in the park. And that's one of the advantages of Southern California. You don't have to have a gym. You can train outdoors. Almost all the time. Okay.
Yes.
And I might have missed 1 or 2 days a year due to rain, maybe 1 or 2. And so I've got this client, and he has a video production company. He owns it, and but he produces it for martial arts videos, and it's a company called budovideos.com. They're the world's largest supplier of martial arts videos, and I'm not a martial artist, but he decided that. He said, Rick, I really, really, really want to do a video, an instructional video on kettlebells. And I thought, well, that's a great idea. And I'm thinking, who in the California area are you going to get that would be, who could I introduce him to? And he said, no, Rick, I want you to do it. I nearly, when I recovered from fainting, I said, okay, I said, okay, let's do it. So we did it. And it's interesting. We did it with no, we didn't write any script out. We did it with no, we made a few mistakes, and so we had to refilm. But basically, it's a quality 30-minute DVD, and it's sold around the world. The last chapter of that DVD, we did a little outdoor workout. Incidentally, it was New Year's Eve in Southern California, and I know I was freezing cold, but you guys wouldn't be cold. It was cold for me. But we did this film outdoors, and I'll send the link to you later. It's still
I want to know the name.
Do
you know the name of the video just off the top, so that people watching can know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's called Kettlebell Basics with featuring Rik Brown, and it's basically all about kettlebells. I think it's a very good DVD. But the last chapter has me teaching him the mace. And when that thing hit the internet, nobody was interested in an old man. I was already 50 plus years old, mid 50s, I guess. Nobody was interested in me teaching the kettlebells. They all wanted to know what that thing about what was that thing called a mace? What was it? And I can tell you this was 2007. People who say they've been in the mace game for a long time. Well, I've got the video out there in 2007. Show me your video. Okay, what year was it? And but I'll tell you how I learned about the mace.
Because I know you used to do steel clubs as well, didn't you?
I did steel clubs first. Yes, I had a car filled with steel clubs and maces. Okay, and my car was it looked like a sled. It was dragging down the road, and I was at the library. Back then I didn't even have a computer. I was just going through a divorce, and I was living in a little cracker box, and I was struggling to go through a divorce. God bless her. But
I've been through one of those.
Okay, yeah, we're all friends now, everything. But back then, it was tough, and I was paying all sorts of alimony. So I had very little money. I had very, very little money, and but that's why I had to take an extra job to get the money to get certified. But so I didn't have a computer then, so I'm at the library at their computer, and I saw this guy posting something about a mace bell, as it was called then, and I'm driving home from the library thinking, how am I ever going to learn about this mace bell? And you're not going to believe this, but this is the actual truth. A truck pulls in front of me, and it was vehicle wrapped. It was a personal trainer's truck, and on the back it said, "Learn to swing a mace bell." And listen, I'm not the brightest guy in the world, but I know when God's talking to me. I absolutely know
Right,
when
right.
God is talking to me. He was talking to me. I looked up, okay. I flagged the guy down. I pulled him over. I said, I've got to learn about the mace bell. And sure enough, the guy driving it was the only person in America in 2006 teaching mace bells. His name was
Wow.
Jake Shannon. He's Jake Shannon of scientificwrestling.com. And
I've seen a lot of his videos.
Yes,
I've seen a lot of his stuff.
As fortune would have it, he lived 2 streets over from me. We were neighbors. I became his student. Now, Jake's a great guy, but he's very, very busy. He does a lot of things. He's even run for political office. He is a professional hypnotist. He had a radio show. He's doing all sorts of things. And he's a wrestling coach. And so the mace was also something he did. Well, I said, well, listen, the mace is going to be all I do. Okay. You're doing a lot of things. I'm going to take this to the world. And he said, well, I hope you do, Rick, but I just don't think there's a market for it. And I said, no, I just learned about this thing called the internet. I'm going to make a market for it. And Kay and Giovanni, that's pretty much where it started. I started going online, posting videos, never trying to persuade people about the benefit of the mace, the physical benefits. I always tried to use the angle that the mace is just the coolest and the funnest form of exercise I could think of. And I think that angle helped.
Mate, the passion you had was what lured me in as well. I mean, just watching your videos, I'd never swung a mace in my life. And I just saw you and I was like, the passion exuded through the screen. I could feel the energy. And I thought, you know what, if this man is that excited about this thing, I'm going to give it a try as well.
Oh, thank you. That is exactly what I attempted to display and portray. And at first, the traditional strength community, even the kettlebell community, I hate to say I was one of them, but even the kettlebell community kind of looked at the mace as being a fad. I said, how can it be a fad? It's 1,000 years old.
Right.
How can it be a fad? It's because the mace is 1,000 years old. It comes from India, and it is a tool used not so much as a weapon, but it is used, at least in India, it's called the gada, and it's used to strengthen wrestlers for the purpose of throwing somebody over their shoulder, throwing them to the ground, which is how they wrestle. And I was actually a wrestler in high school myself. That's what made it so that I got along well with Jake Shannon. But by the time I came to the mace, I was no longer wrestling. I was just a trainer, and I just felt that the mace was the coolest addition to my workout. I still use kettlebells. I use the Bulgarian bag.
Yeah.
I still use the bull worker.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, what did you notice about the mace that was so different from, because you do a lot of rotational things. You do the kettlebells, the Bulgarian bags.
Yes.
You've done a bit of the club bells.
Yes.
So what was it about the mace that made you think that this is superior to the rest?
Okay. And in talking, when I first picked up a mace, I followed Jake to his house. I pulled him over on the side of the road. I said, listen, buddy, I got to learn the mace. Okay, follow me home. Say, I found out he was just 2 streets over from me. And I picked up a mace, and I was fairly good at my first try, which is rare. Most people can't do a mace their first try. So if you're a guy
who had experience, you had experience from the kettlebells and the clubs and that.
And the clubs. He asked me, he said, he said, "Well, how come you're better than most people at this?" And I told him, I said, I'm a certified kettlebell coach, and I swing heavy clubs. And I had them all in the car there. He went and looked at my car, and he was the one who said it looked like a sled. And uh, it was a Ford Taurus, and it was all I could handle at the time. But it was filled with kettlebells and clubs. So I got on with the Mace. But I'll tell you this: to me, the Mace was a beautiful, elegant display of strength and control.
Yes.
Where, whereas something like a max bench press or deadlift is a brutal display of strength and control. Two different ways of looking at it. It's still inspiring. I was at a powerlifting seminar last weekend with one of the world's greatest powerlifters, Ed Cohen. Okay, so I still keep my ear to the ground on all things workout related. But to me, the deadlift was just, or that type of linear strength training was, I hate to say it, but it was common, brutal, mundane. Anybody could do it. Whereas the mace was different. You had to be taught, like the kettlebells, you have to be taught how to do them. You cannot pick up a kettlebell and be good at it on your own. You have to get instruction. That intrigued me because it weeded out all the people who weren't serious. Only the serious people would want to learn it. The more I used the mace, the more I loved it. Incidentally, my first mace was a 10-kilo mace.
Wow.
I kept that. I still have that same mace, but I stuck with that same weight for years before I attempted to do anything heavier. I got at least 1,000,000 reps in before I attempted
1,000,000 reps.
At least and talk about this: 1,000 to 3,000 repetitions a week for 6 or 7 years. Do the math. That's 1,000,000 reps. Okay. And I see people today who pick up a mace, and in 3 months they're masters, and in 4 months they're teaching seminars, and okay, it's just, it was a different.
But they're not Mr. Mace Man. They're not Mr. Mace Man. They don't have that same passion for it. Even if they could lift a heavier mace than you, they still.
Definitely. There's people that can swing heavier maces than me. I'm 63 years old. I'm not the.
But there's a reason why you're called Mr. Mace Man. There's a reason why India.
Yes, because I love it. I love it more than anybody else. That's why.
I mean, even in India, they called you over to come and certify people in India. You're the only non-Indian that's been taken over to India to certify people in the mace.
I'm very grateful about that. And I'll tell you, I caught hell online when I first announced that I was going to India. Why? People saying, why is a white boy going to India? First of all, I'm 63. I'm not a white boy. I'm not a boy, okay?
But isn't that the latest thing? The latest thing now is like, what do you have? Look, either you're knowledgeable or you're not. It has nothing to do with
race, gender,
what color
nothing.
You're at. Just it's a passion and just go at it. But real quick, before I even go down that rabbit hole, because that's one of the main reasons why I'm glad I'm not in the States. I just don't want to get caught up in all that nonsense. But you're talking about how a lot of people just kind of move on quickly, right? And you stuck with your 10-kilo one. I got a 5-kilo one, and I didn't do too bad, when I first went. I was like, because I work with a hoe. I do agriculture, So,
great.
But anyway, so we're going back to what you were saying, which is the same thing that how I approached the bull worker. Now, a lot of people are concerned about, what spring I can crush, and I still work out with the white spring,
right?
Until I've mastered that thing in every little position, compress, and I can move it, and I can just feel great. I mean, I'll go to the gold, but I want to get full contraction, beautiful
from the lightest, full control as well.
And when I've mastered that, then I'll go to the next level. I transferred my knowledge of weightlifting because I also, like you, wanted to be a bodybuilder, and my hero was Schwarzenegger. And I grew up in the 80s in an old school gym at the bottom of the community center, $50 a year for membership. Right. and it was just those old style barbells, and it just smelled like just wicked sweat. It was to the point, you know. And so I transferred that knowledge of working out to using the bull worker. So I approach it in the same way as in my sets, my reps. You know, I know how to get a preacher bench curl out of this, and then also I do the dynamic tension and whatnot. But with the proper knowledge, with the proper breathing, I'm still get. It's been a year since I've been using the bull worker, a little bit over, and I can still get some good brutal workouts, beautiful workouts with the white spring. And you emphasize that. I like to hear that a little bit more about
speaking to the 10 kilo weights.
Yeah.
People try to run before they can walk.
Don't. You've got to learn to walk well before you can consider the ability to run. And I that's the word I use. I romanticize the idea of an individual like me or like yourself who has a passion for a tool, and he lives and dies by that tool. He gets really good with it, and he milks it for all it's worth. And that's what I've done with the mace. And I don't need to defend it. I can't. I know all the words to say about what it develops and things like that. But if I have to tell you all that, if I have to tell somebody all that, go do what you want to do. Okay. I live in Southern California. Everybody surfs except me. I don't surf. I can swim, and I love to swim, but I don't surf. I don't surf. I don't have a tan, and I've lived here all my life. Okay. So people who surf, incidentally, the city I lived in when I met Jake Shannon was right on the beach, right on the shore, Dana Point, California.
Yeah, I know Dana Point.
Okay, right. Everybody has a surfboard in their garage, or some even have them up on their wall as objects of art. But no surfer defends surfing. They do it because they like it. You don't like it, don't do it. I didn't like it, I didn't do it.
Exactly.
Well, that's the way I feel about my training. This is my golf. You know, no golfer tells you I golf because it develops my triceps. Nobody does. They golf because they like to golf. This is my golf. This is my surfing. And I made it work, and I made it take me around the world because I romanticize it. I love it. I think it's something. I just have this idea of a person, especially an older person, you know, who uses it and uses it with great skill. And to me, there's nothing more. That's the coolest thing to do to me.
Yes.
And you're either with me or you're not. And I don't try to persuade you. Go find what you love to do and do it. And take it.
Yeah, but with that being said,
that's why I'm the Mace Man. You know, not because I'm the best, but because I love it the most. And people tell me, and I've even saved some of the comments on you know. I can pull them up and show you. But some people have said, oh, so Rik Brown thinks he's Mr. Mace Man. I've been doing the mace for X, Y, and Z years. Really?
Please.
Really? Show me pictures. Show me videos. Tell me that you have organized a workshop, that you have rented a hall, that you have paid insurance for it, that you have hired photographers and videographers, that you have advertised and organized, and you have gone through the risk of getting this thing off the ground. My first Mace client was in 2006, 2007. Jake Shannon made a instructional DVD. He asked me to be in it. I did. I was grateful to be in it, along with two other local Southern California trainers. Oh, my light went out again. So, that was 2007. Okay. My first open to the public seminar, I trained clients all then. My first seminar was in 2013. And 18 people showed up. I thought, wow, this is great. I thought 18 people, that's the start. Excuse me. And I'm talking so much, throat's not clear. But so in June of 2013, I got my first seminar, and people showed up. I remember when I paid the photographer, the videographer, and rented the gym where it was. I counted my profit and everything. I thought, oh, this is what this was. I was very pleased. Okay.
Mm.
I said I can replicate this, and I replicated it in a few other cities in the Southern California area. At that time, between Los Angeles and San Diego, I did two good ones in San Diego, two good gyms. Okay, and people started knowing about this thing called the Mace. Okay,
Mm.
so around 2014, I get a call from a gym in Northern California, a city called Salinas. And
Yeah.
this gentleman who owned the gym, great guy, he says, I want you to come up and teach your mace thing. Now, it took me 6 hours to drive there. California is really long, okay? And it took me 6 hours to drive, and my dear wife went with me, thank goodness. And
Mm.
we rented a van. We filled it full of maces because gyms didn't have maces.
Mm.
Mm.
And that's kind of slowed me down at first. Now I contact gyms and do you have maces or can you get them? Yeah, they can. It works out. I just signed a deal to do a seminar in Germany in September, and yeah, they have maces, no problem. Okay, so I'm happy about that. But at first, it slowed me down. So I drive to 6 hours to this gym, and I teach the mace to some top trainers there. Incidentally, the core of that group of trainers, the owner of that gym, um, they became the nucleus of the Audit organization.
Mm.
Mm.
Okay, so and Audit's doing good things with the mace. They're popularizing the mace, but if you fast forward 10 years from there, I'm teaching the mace at a trade show in San Diego, and some little trainer came up. She picked up the mace and she does a few moves with it, and I said, "Oh, young lady," I said, "Are you familiar? You're obviously familiar with the mace." And she says, "I'm certified by Audit. They invented the mace." I go,
Oh my God.
"Oh." I said, "Okay, honey, okay,
They
okay." So
invented the
you
mace.
know,
But people, don't you find that people do that when something is at its infancy, when it's beginning, when there's not much interest in it, people don't really mess with it. But when they see that there's a potential and this thing can gain money, it can gain traction, everybody wants to now jump on and claim I'm the authority, but they're
yes,
not the ones
they're
that
now the
brought it up
authority.
from the ground.
No, also at that particular seminar in Salinas, California, I was demoing, and I had these two beautiful, very long, 5.5 feet long, water
Wow,
fillable maces, giant 12-inch head. They were water fillable, and I had one
yes.
of them filled halfway or so, three-quarters of the way with water, weighed about 20 kilograms. At the time,
Wow,
very
wow.
few people were swinging that, and there was this
Mhm.
big guy from your country, from England. A big guy was there,
Really?
and he was 19 stone. He told me, "What's 19 stone?" And
That's oh, that's 250 poundish.
oh well, he was more than that. I think he was closer to 300. Anyway,
Ooh.
big young man, and I told anyone in the crowd, I said, if anybody can swing this mace 100 times, they can have it. And he took a go at it, and this is all on YouTube. I can show it to you. He swung it like 75 times, something like
Oh,
that,
that's
70,
impressive. That's impressive.
78 times, right? And so he swung it 78 times, and I told him, I said, "Pal, I said you did good. You don't get the mace because it had to be 100 times,
Yeah.
but you did more than anybody else." And then he says it, and you can hear it on the camera. He says, "Can you beat me, mate?"
Oh,
and
wrong
and
challenge. Wrong
yeah,
challenge.
well, I'm at first I'm like, well, I just came here to instruct. I'm just, but then the people that went with me, there was Eric Doyle, who I do a lot of work with.
Mm.
And at the time I was training, also, we were producing seminars with a young female powerlifter, Melody Schoenfeld. She said he could beat you any day of the week, twice on Sundays. And this,
Twice a-
and you could see it on the video. I just had this look, this thing came over to me that like, I am not going to let this guy beat me. So with no warm up, I go over, I pick up the same mace, and I start swinging it. And I think when I got to about 65 or 70 reps, I kind of just closed my eyes and started snoring to let him know that it was nothing. And okay, so I beat the young man. Okay, I and then I kind of lost my concentration when I got to about 87 reps. Okay, I knew I beat him, so I put the mace down and I told him, I said, listen, I beat you, young man. You know, be careful who you challenge. And
Mm-hmm.
and I said, you don't get the mace because you didn't do 100 reps, but I didn't do 100 reps, so I have to forfeit the mace. And that mace is still to this day in that
In that
gym
gym.
in Northern California.
Wow.
You know, it's
Brilliant
still
Ah,
story,
there.
that.
that's
That's a brilliant
awesome.
story.
That's an awesome story.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and you
And a
know,
yeah.
humbling one. A humbling story too.
yeah, and through encounters like that, you create some serious bonds and memories. You
Oh,
know,
he's a great
And
guy.
respect,
He's
yes.
he has that guy. Matt Coolman is his name. He has a gym. Oh, I don't want to. I think it's in
Matt
Cornwall. I
Coleman.
think Matt
I've heard that name. I've definitely
K,
heard that name.
K
Matt Coleman.
yeah, Coolman, big giant of a guy, and he has a mace gym. I think it's in Cornwall.
Mm.
Okay,
What do you think
but
about the steel? What do you think about the steel mace flow? Those guys that do the
the
flow,
steel
Leo
mace what?
Savage and steel mace flow. You know where they move around with it and they do the
Right.
movements.
Okay. All I can say without incurring the wrath of 1,000 people, because I've done that before. When it first started, when the flow first started, I was dead set against it. Okay. To
Mhm.
me, it's not. It's just not the direction I wanted to go in.
Mm.
I'm a lifter. I wanted something that was more strength and power based. It was more movement based. I remember making a post online in which I said, and I felt this way, but and I hate to say it to young guys, but you guys in your generation, Kay, and younger ones,
Yeah.
Giovanni knows, but you can't even have a differing opinion now. You've hurt their feelings and you've wounded their inner child, and now they're
yeah,
upset.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
and okay,
Exactly.
and mind you, when I
Well, but
started with the
I'm
mace,
I'm an exception. I'm an exception to the rule. Please accept.
good,
Yeah,
good,
I'm
Kay's not
different.
like
good,
that.
okay, but when I started with the mace, the traditional strength community, they thought I was a fool. It was a fad. It was, this is a gimmick. Okay, it didn't hurt my feelings. I mean, it did a little, but I knew what I had value, so I persisted. Nowadays, you tell a flow guy that, yeah, that looks really nice, but you're not strength training. Oh my goodness, they're about to go. They have to
Yeah,
call their psychiatrist. They have to go
yeah.
self-medicate with
Use
whatever.
Xanax and all sorts.
Yeah, they're
CBD.
on Xanax and Prozac and and now that and the problem is, I said that to me, the mace as I do it is like Olympic gold medal swimming.
Yes.
The flow is like synchronized swimming. Oh, they just were up in arms about that. And it's nothing negative to say about synchronized swimmers. They're a valid
It's a
athlete and they
critique.
train.
It's a
Yeah,
Yeah,
critique. It's an opinion.
it's just an opinion. And I'm an old man. Let me have an opinion. But
Hmm.
exactly.
I remember I put up a post and I said it wasn't even my post. Somebody else put it up and I found it and I just said amen to it. Someone said, no matter, and this is a quote, no matter how dramatic and how beautiful your pirouettes are with a 4 pound mace, you can't call it strength training. And
Yes.
within about 30 minutes, I had 141 negative comments. People wanting to boycott Rik Brown and Mr. Mace Man and blah, blah, blah. Listen,
Imagine that.
listen, I'm well aware that the flow community is growing much faster than the people that follow me. I'm fine with that. If you want to flow to your heart's content. It's just not what I wanted to do.
Well, it's
Um,
a totally
And
different
that's
modality. It's a
and
different type
that
of training, basically.
yes, totally different. Boxing is different from judo. They're both martial arts.
Yes,
yeah,
that's true. That's true.
and
That's true.
that's good enough. And I mean, again, you should be able to uh express that opinion without anybody getting all
Because they want to classify, they want
carried
to
too much.
generalize everything into mace. They want to call everything mace. But like you just said, you can't call everything martial arts. You've got boxing, you've got judo. So
Yeah,
Rik Brown's type of mace training is a specific old traditional type of mace training. What these
yeah,
what are doing now is all fun. I'm not going to call it say it's bad, but it's a new variation of mace training, if that makes sense.
Mm.
And it's
it
still
is,
kind of new. It's still kind of new.
it is. And my only fear was, and I'm not to say that any of its proponents, they're all great athletes. They are better athletes than I am. Okay,
Mm.
If you saw me flow, I flow like a walrus or a manatee. That's about how good I flow, right? And uh, I've got no pro- but I've got no problem with that. Okay, I do what I
Exactly.
do, and the fact that you might not like what I do does not hurt my feelings. So don't
Mm.
be hurt if I tell you that what you do isn't my cup of tea. But yet,
Yeah, that's
many of them, many of them are deeply, deeply hurt over the fact that I
yeah.
don't consider that type of training. And there's nothing wrong with that type of training. Do what you want to do. That's
Whatever
But he's
all.
not
suits your
he's
bubble.
not your type of mace training, and it's true.
Well,
It's not strength
Right.
training.
well,
It's
I
not.
see.
It might help you. Oh, sorry.
It's
Go
okay.
on, Gio.
I see the same thing with calisthenics. Like the way I do calisthenics is just very old fashioned. I keep it basic. I do my push-ups, I do my pull-ups, I do my dips. But now it
Mm.
seems that it's gotten outside of that realm to see how fancy of a push-up you can hold like one leg in
Yes,
the air with one pinky. And for
muscle ups,
people,
jumping in the air,
yeah, what
backflips.
I feel is like instead of attracting people to the craft itself of exercising, is attracting people to how awesome you are.
Yes, yes. And Giovanni
And it's
and
missing the
Kay,
point.
yes. And it's not so replicable. It's not. You got to remember, I teach classes with people with 30 people in there.
Mm,
If what I
Mm.
see people doing with the light maces now, where they're projecting them into the air and
Yes,
they're twirling them, the helicopter mace spin. You try getting insurance to teach 30 new people that
that's true.
you're you're going to end up in the emergency room. You're going. I'm just saying these
That is real.
these
That is true.
these performances that these mace coaches do, as awesome as they are, try teaching that to a 55-year-old overweight housewife.
That's
yeah,
impossible. There's no
exactly.
Try
chance.
try doing
No
it.
chance.
What
Okay.
No
happens
chance.
is that instead of winning those people to your camp, they end up leaving because they're not really, again, it's missing the point, which
They're
is
overwhelmed.
fitness and strength, but they're overwhelmed when they see a guy doing a flagpole. It's like, how am I going to do
I'm
that?
never gonna be able. I'm never gonna be able to do that. So there's no
No.
point. Let me go to something I can achieve
And
something in.
the whole purpose of the exercise wasn't to do a flag pose, but was to develop nice strong joints, nice loosen
Right.
weight, get a strong chest, get a strong bone structure.
Yes.
They're
I
showing
and
you. They're showing you the end results of what a good foundation can get you, but they're not showing you what it takes to get a good foundation. They're
Mm,
just showing you the acrobatics they
exactly.
can now perform.
mm.
And I think it speaks to a lot of that generations. I'm sorry, I'm an old man. Let me have my opinions. I think it
Yeah,
speaks to that generation's
it's
lack,
true. It's true.
and that they don't let the roots drive in deep before they're onto something. Show me something cool. Show me something. Show me
And how can
something
I do
cool.
it in 2 days?
Yes, something. Uh, I trained pretty much in the dark and alone in a big field, not caring who saw me or who didn't see me, for close to a decade before I started bringing this to the public. I
Mm,
didn't need people applauding for me.
exactly.
And you know, there's a great basketball coach that we had in America, John Wooden. Giovanni, I know you know who he is, and he coached the UCLA team to 10 national championships. And every year he would get some high school hot shot. Every year he'd get a high school hot shot on his team who said, "Let me show you what I can do, coach. I can do a 360
Mm.
dunk. I can do this. I can do that." And John Wooden would say, "Let me see you do a layup." He goes, "Do a layup?" He goes, "I've been doing layups for years." Let me see you do a layup, because I'm not interested in what you can do that looks cool. I'm interested in what you can do when you're tired, when there's a stadium full of people cheering against you, when we're behind
Mm.
by 2 points and there's 1 second left.
Yes.
So let me see 500 layups. The greatest in my era football coach that ever lived. Now, we American football, Vince Lombardi, coached champions and champions. Every year he would start practice. He would lay a football in front of the greatest football players of the day. And he'd say this: "Gentlemen, this is a football. Our goal is to get this ball across that line." They were already champions.
Mm,
Let's keep it simple. Let's stick with the
Mhm.
basics. And I never got tired of the basics. I'm still not tired of them.
Neither am
And
I.
if people want to move beyond me, and I have tremendous respect for the calisthenic community. Incidentally, the calisthenics community is way beyond the Mace community as far as their reach and how far they've established themselves and in the production values of their videos. Go on YouTube, type in Mace videos. You're going to see some guys doing good and most people doing terribly.
Mm,
But in the calisthenics community, oh, there's a few people I follow that are just wizards. They're like Bruce Lee,
mm.
and I hate to
And you
say
know,
this, but go ahead.
I was going to say, you know how much work it takes to even achieve some of the skill levels that they're displaying.
What? Yeah. What?
It's beyond me forever. I mean, I will never be able to do what I see the people that inspire me do, but I'm okay with that, you know.
What? You know what's funny though, that interesting that you said the calisthenic community, because I remember like back in 1998, 2000. I was doing pull-ups. I've been doing pull-ups and push-ups and squats for the dips for the longest time. Later on, I discovered the Charles Atlas training course.
Dynamic
Yes.
tension.
Then I also started doing. I discovered this book called Dynamic Strength by this guy. Believe it or not, Harry Wong. That's his. That's the
Wow.
title. You don't even. That is so wrong. And his name was Harry Wong.
Harry
Yeah.
wrong or Wong.
And it's funny because later on during the time, later on, I'd be doing push-ups and pull-ups, and everybody just always, you're doing push-ups and pull-ups. That's funny. That doesn't work. For the longest time, it doesn't work, and all this. And now that they can't peddle this to the public anymore, for whatever
Right.
reason, that it doesn't work, now they figured out, well, we need to market these things that people can do for free, which are
Yeah.
push-ups and pull-ups, and now create this community where I even stay away from. I just do my push-ups and my pull-ups. I know they work. I love doing them. I live by them just like you live by the Mace.
Hey, there's a DVD. Well, it was a VHS back in the VHS era,
Yeah, I remember the VHS era.
and there was a VHS called Thug Workout.
Ooh.
And they basically, the camera crew followed these brothers around. Most of them even said, I'm right out of the joint. And they did things that I had never seen anybody do with pull-ups and push-ups and dips. And I still have that VHS. I have it transferred to a DVD. And it's a 40-minute DVD. And I can tell you this. I can tell you this with my hand over my heart. I have never been ever been able to watch that DVD all the way through without stopping it and saying, okay, I gotta go work out. I have to go work out now.
Well, what's the name of that DVD again, mate?
Workouts.
Thug
Workout.
Workout. And the guys, I mean, they're in parks generally in the East Coast of the U.S., New York City.
Yeah.
And they just it's just incredible. I've shown that to so many people that I've known, and they don't use a mace, but it's back to romanticizing the idea of, like Giovanni, you do your push-ups, you do your pull-ups, and you do your stuff, and you make it work for you.
Yes.
It's just I here in Rancho Santa Margarita and in Southern California, there's these gyms that look like jungles with so much equipment in them that you get lost in them. And if that's what you need to psych yourself up, okay, go ahead and do it. But you give me a mace, a singular kettlebell, couple of clubs, or even nothing at all with calisthenics, even though I'm not at the as proficient at calisthenics. I weigh 250 pounds. It's not easy for me to do flags or even pull-ups. I just but I do what I can, and I'm going to work out. Even if I have nothing, even if I just have Charles Atlas Dynamic Tension,
Yes,
which was
yes.
a great course, and hey, it's the love of exercise. It's the love of it.
That's what it is.
Well, let me tell you about that love of exercise. Right now, I'm going through. I'm taking part in an agricultural apprenticeship, And so it requires me to go to different sites and learn under different farmers, and I work with them. But it's a paid apprenticeship. And sometimes I just got to sit there and listen to this person, talk to me about asparagus and how to pick asparagus. And I'm just like thinking, like, by the end of this day, I'm going to be knackered. So I want to start getting my workout on right now with nothing. For example, I'll just sit there and I'll start doing my tricep curls on a dynamic tension, and so I'll crank out at a decent tension. I'll build up the tension as I go every 10, and I'll clock 100 on each side. And, by the end of this asparagus lecture, I'd already done shoulders and triceps. And it's, again, like you're saying, I don't need anything. When I go outside, every little corner that I see, and I enter a house, every wall or whatever, I try to picture, how can I use this to get some exercise?
That's the mindset. That's the right mindset.
Also, can I just throw in a point quickly?
Yes.
A lot of people nowadays, they're all about instant gratification. So this is where these whole isolation exercises come from. Oh, I want my chest to look good. So you're just going to separate your chest from a whole unit. Your body's a unit. You separate and start doing your chest. But when you come back to old traditional methods like the mace, the kettlebells, and to an extent the bull worker as well, these things keep it real. They always make sure you work your body as one unit. There's no isolating. There's no just do the arms, just do the shoulders.
It's a compound workout. It's what it is.
And if you're always working the whole body, you're always that's literally how people used to train in the old days. This new isolation method, I think, is a modern fad.
Well, what it is that isolation method also came from the passion of you can look at like Eugene Sandow, which was known as like the forefather of bodybuilding. We had an amazing physique, and those bodybuilders back then were not only aesthetically beautiful, and that's how they were able to get that, is by isolating, but they also engaged in the full body workout, which is what made them so strong for such small frames that they had back then.
Yes, that's what I'm on about. Yes.
Well,
Eugene Sandow was an incredible inspiration.
Eugene Sandow and Maxick, Maxick, the guy from Muscle Control. One of my greatest heroes, like I said, was Charles Atlas. And,
Charles Atlas.
But anyway, we're coming up on the time bench, and so we're gonna leave it with you, Mr. Rik. And
I've got so much more to say. I have so much more to say.
We'll have a part 2, man. This has.
I'm saying an hour just flew so quickly just then. I didn't even realize.
It's amazing. And usually we end it with Kay giving like an inspiration.
No, but now we've got the legend here.
But today, Rik, I want you to leave something.
Yes.
Leave us with a message of inspiration, whether it's working out or life in general, a positive point, since we seem to be living in this real negative generation of woe and gloom and my toenail
hurts. Be scared of this, scared of that.
Leave us with something beautiful, whether it's the mace, whatever. A nice.
Okay, let me see. I end most of my seminars with a little something like that, and when I do return to the UK, and I will, the two of you are guests at my next seminar. Okay. If you can make it to Germany, you're guest at my I'm doing September 3rd. I'll be in Germany, but
September 3rd. Oh, okay.
I'll stay there. September 3rd in Germany. September 24th in New Jersey. But I will say this. How can I phrase it? This is something that has taken me from Mr. Nobody to Mr. MaceMan. It has taken me around the world. Okay, those of you who know me well know I'm a working man. I've worked for 45 years driving a forklift. I'll be doing it in 2 days. Back Monday, I'll be doing it. But the Mr. MaceMan is made me known around the world, and I'm grateful to it. It is something you can do. If I can do it, you can do it. I like to say, you grab this dream and then believe it, put in the work, and you'll achieve it. Believe in God, and you're halfway there, or whatever your concept of God is. You're halfway there. Believe in your methodology of training, and you're 3/4 of the way there. I believe in the Mace. And believe in yourself, and you are there. And thank God that I'm part of you. That's how I end many, many, many of my seminars.
Dude,
Okay.
rock and roll, dude. Totally.
Beautiful, beautiful words, sir. Beautiful.
Well, we come to that point, unfortunately, but through this show, through our interactions together, we come together, creating that friction that could only be created through interaction, and slowly a heat builds up to bring that light upon the world. And we leave you like that, Rip. We're gonna have to have you back, and we're gonna have to get into some
100%,
serious talk about, like, get into the
It was such a honor to have you
kind
here.
of history, you know.
Yep.
All that stuff, because for me, that's just they don't know the plethora of knowledge that there's out there, and it's so simple and so easy and accessible. Simplicity. Look at the paperclip and the light bulb, and look, we still use these. They're candles.
Right.
So simple.
Complexity is just a bunch of simplicity. You grab a lot of simple things together, and that's what complex is.
Well, from California, from Japan, and from England, we say goodbye to you guys. Peace and love, and keep it jungly.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon, Rick. Get some good one. Have a lovely day, okay?
Thank you. Thank you so much. You too.
Okay. Cheers.
Have a good day.
Hey, okay, I'm gonna call you right back right now, okay, mate?
All right, brother.
Okay,
brother.
cheers. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah.